Okay, so now let's have a little fun. Let's talk about effects and things that you can do to add some extra little sparkle to your image. Yes, I just did say sparkle. That's pretty sad. I just meant let's play around and add some extra stuff to it. So here we have an image, and we want to add a vignette. And the problem is that some people think that if you come over here and you happen to be in the manual part of lens correction, you've got lens vignetting over here, and so I'm just going to add a vignette right here. The thing is, this is set up to take into consideration if you've got a lens on your camera that darkens up on the corners or maybe lightens up. Usually it's darken up, and it balances that out so that you don't get that vignette naturally on every photograph. It kind of takes care of that. The reason why you don't want to do it here is because if I were to crop this now, let's add the vignette. All right, so now what if I decide to crop this in like this? It's only keeping the vignette up here. It's not taking into consideration the crop. So what you want to do is not go into lens correction, but come into effects and post-crop vignette. What that does is no matter how I crop it, okay, I'm going to do that. We'll talk about the settings in a minute. But if I come in and readjust the crop, bring it out, give her a little more space, look, it readjusts according to whatever crop I have. So now here are the things going on. You've got a couple settings in here of what you want to have your priority of the vignetting. I never really, I can't say never really, I've never used color priority or paint overlay. I use highlight priority, and then I can decide how much of the vignette I want, the amount. Unless you're doing a 1990s wedding album, you don't want to go over to the white vignettes. And here I'm going to get into a little composition thing. Your eye is drawn to the brightest areas of the photograph. So what you're doing with a white vignette is you're saying, look at the corners and don't focus what's really important in the middle. So usually about almost the whole time whenever I put a vignette in, it's going to be a darker vignette to help bring the eyes towards the center. It helps focus you in. But you don't necessarily want to just have the same vignette on everything over and over again. So you can change the midpoint. You can decide, you know, I just want a little bit on there. You can change the roundness. Remember all these things, you just drag it in and out. I kind of like, what I would like to do is take this so you can see what's going on. I'm going to change and bring the midpoint in, but now I can go from round to square. And that's a great way to give you a nice little frame of your image, is to sharpen it up and give you a nice little rounded corner frame if you want. Or you can add a feather so that it's softer, or a hard edged. I would probably never do that, but you can. It's there. It's an option. And then finally, highlights. What it's going to do is it's going to try to pay attention to the highlights and how it's affected with, let's bring this back down and the feather back down, and let's take the amount in and bring it back up. But so what's happening with the highlights, this is pretty homogeneous, but if there was a bright area, a highlighted area, it would pay attention to that and it would try to tone it down so that it looked more natural with the vignette going around it. So just know this is a wonderful way to add a vignette and add some direction and help focus the eye of the viewer into what you want to see. And just be aware of what the different settings are. Usually once you start putting vignettes on, you probably start out being a little heavy-handed. Whatever you like, probably bring it back just a little bit and start there.